Hello and welcome to round 15. This is the last round of the Swiss. This is the round that's going to determine our top 8. Chris Fennell, you see him there on your right. He's playing against LSV. No introduction necessary. Both players get started playing some Chris Fennell, a dismal backwater from Luis Scott Vargas. Luis came into this tournament kind of in the dismal backwaters. He had the same 2 losses you see up there. That's what he had coming into day 2. He has not lost yet. Elusive Spellfist from Chris Fennell on turn 2.
So the decks that you're going to see here are pretty interesting. Luis Scott Vargas, if you were watching the stream earlier, we actually got to watch him draft this deck. It's a blue-black value control deck. It's what you would expect out of Luis Scott Vargas as he leads things off with, what else? A Marshall. Passes the turn back to Fennell, who's playing blue-white. A different take on it. You see an Elusive Spellfist here, maybe a little bit more of an assertive deck. Luis's deck is very much looking to go into the late game.
I mean, you like him. You saw in his hand multiple copies of Reach of Shadows right now.
He's got 3.
His deck is clogged.
And yeah, this is a beatdown deck from Fennell, no doubt about it.
There's an Ojutai Interceptor. He just flips it up on turn 4, swings in the air for 4. Luis falls to 16. He plays
Misfire
Adept, and he's just looking to stabilize.
Yeah, that does mean though that he's going to take another hit here.
He is, but he's got to land for his.
Well, he's got a backwater. Did he have an untapped land too?
He does have an untapped land.
Okay,
I see an island as well.
All right, well,
I think his hand is like, oh my gosh.
It shouldn't matter here.
Aven Surveyor.
I mean, it's not great, obviously, but for Luis Scott Vargas, but he just drew another Reach. He has all 3 in his hand.
He has trips Reach of Shadows at this point.
Yeah, and you can see Luis being careful here. He's playing around cards that counter things like Contradict, a card like Center Soul.
A card that blew out Chris Fennell earlier today.
That's right.
That's where one of his losses came from.
This is a valuable lesson for new limited players. You know, sometimes it's correct to play your instant speed things on your turn.
There's an Aven Tactician.
Yeah, and Avens are kind of high-fiving each other here.
Yeah.
Team Birds flying over, and get Surveyor in there for 3. This clock is real. This is a real clock, and Luis has to basically just deploy Reach of Shadows once every turn for the rest of the game if he can. He is desperately trying to stabilize. He's got that Marshall down that can clean up the ground later on if it comes to it.
He wouldn't mind getting a good creature in the graveyard too. He's got a Foul Revival in hand.
We saw him first pick Sidisi Undead Vizier in this draft, so we know that that's floating around his list as well. We don't know quite as much about Chris's draft and how it went. He's at the table with him, but looking at his deck list now, it looks pretty solid to me.
Well, there's a Soul Summons, adds to his board, makes the Elusive Spellfist more elusive.
Yep.
And he drops Luis down to 6.
Yeah, this has been a furious curve here for Fennell, and Luis has Reach of Shadows, which does a good job at killing sort of anything, but it's not the best answer for the cheap threats that Luis has been facing here.
Yeah, and this is the sort of the problem, if you will, with Luis's deck, which is terrific, is that it really does clog up at 5.
It does, and he's got a couple of 6s
by the way, talking to him, he said, yeah, he definitely made a mistake on that 3rd Reach of Shadows. He said, definitely a mistake, definitely should have taken the Sultai Emissary, something we were talking about while we were watching the draft.
Luis also has a Foul Revival in his hand as well. Another reason why he'd like to find a creature, to get a creature into his yard, but everything that Fennell plays has been evasive so far. I wonder if he actually wouldn't mind trading with one of these morphs.
Oh, he would love
to.
He would love to jam that Marsh Hulk into the red zone.
Yeah, I don't know. Now he's got 7. I mean, I'm talking about, he could block a Manifest or a Morph here on the ground with his Morph just to get a creature in the yard, because it basically turns on another removal spell for him with Foul.
And honestly, he's really got to deal with that Elusive Spellfist. So I think what he'd love to do is he would love to Reach of Shadows that Elusive Spellfist, and okay, here comes Aven Tactician and a Morph. So Morph's going to double block the Morph.
It's a Monastery Lore Master.
All right.
But this actually plays right into Luis's hands, because now his Foul Renewal is all set to go.
But I think what he may want to do here is he may want
to wait.
He may want to wait,
Reach
of Shadows, and give prowess and flying to that, so he can get that, because he needs to get rid of that Spellfist. That Spellfist, he's at 4. That's gonna be the guy that gets him.
You're totally right. I'm gonna be the guy that gets you.
Yeah.
That's the one. Foul Renewal basically is acting as a huge removal spell thanks to the Marsh Hulk now. -6/-6 it can give, and he'll get it back as well.
Right.
And Luis does decide to wait this time. We saw him earlier use his removal spells on his turn to play around counters or some type of protection ability, but now he's got to be a little greedy. He's got to go for it.
So here we go. Wait.
That's another copy
that was another
of
elusive
Elusive Spellfist, and this is interesting.
All right, he's like,
All right,
fine,
he is just
I'll
gonna
play it.
He's like, all right, you already saw it.
Oh.
And Luis does the attack.
Look at this, no attack from Chris Fennell.
Yeah, Chris knows. He's trying to line up a kill next turn. So Luis must go for something here. He can just play a Reach of Shadows. It's more mana efficient that way.
You can just play the Foul Renewal too.
Yeah, but that's less mana efficient.
Sure.
It would give him a card back in his hand if he needed to play a card, though. Wow, this is a tough spot for Scott Vargas. He has got to really sequence this out because Fennell is going to give him no wiggle room whatsoever.
He does. He renewals.
Gets back Marsh Hulk.
And he gets to show him an instant this way. Let's draw the fifth land here.
Yeah, he actually kind of needed that, I think, because now
Yeah.
that gives him Reach of Shadows available.
Yep.
And he's going to pass a turn with that same play up, and Fennell might say,
Oh,
you know what,
I
all
baited
in.
it out. I
I'm
baited
doing
it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I got the removal spell out of his hand. Fennell accidentally revealing. Never mind. Luis already knew that he had that one anyway. So that's the one you want to drop on the table if you're going to do it Soul Summons. Remember, the Monastery Lore Master got that back earlier. So.
Yep.
So the other card's still unknown.
So he
Now,
gains
is Fennell
two.
going to wait again?
I don't think he is.
Because if he goes for it here, he is going to get fairly wrecked. Let's see,
Well,
kill that thing, trade that thing. No, he's not going to get that wrecked.
No, he's gonna. In fact, Luis is gonna fall to 2.
Yeah, but he's going to lose his Aven Tactician just for nothing.
Right.
Elusive Spellfist.
Well, he's got to. I think he's got to kill the Spellfist.
He would kill the Spellfist. He would eat the Tactician. He
And
would
then-
trade Manifest for Morph.
Right.
And he would take 2 from the Student.
Yep, and that's exactly what's happening here.
So
All out attack from Fennell.
Spellfist down.
Flying Prowess.
Block.
Block.
And this actually works out fine for Fennell, though, as he still actually has the win on the board here. As it sits, the Manifest is dead, though.
Manifest is dead.
Yeah, are they?
Cast another Soul Summons.
Yeah, the bottom Manifest died, though, right? It traded with the Morph?
Yeah, it traded with the Morph.
I wonder if they haven't updated that yet. Is the board state correct? It feels like the board state's not correct. There's a surveyor.
Doesn't
I
matter.
guess it wouldn't have
doesn't.
mattered anyway, but that's... Yeah, okay. Well, that one went a little bit too quickly anyway. They were all planes there for Fennell as he shows those.
Here we see Luis going to a sideboard.
Yeah, he's immediately back down to business, and
You see some
Fennell
2-drops in there, the
joking around.
Sultai Skullkeepers that, I guess did not make his main deck.
all right, let's jump over to Jacob Wilson and Hugh Kramer.
Okay. Hugh Kramer's a local guy on the New York scene. He's been really dominating limited, just didn't, I don't think, dropped the game in a limited PPTQ, that was held in the city a couple months back.
That is impressive.
Yeah, someone who's been doing really well, playing against, of course, Jacob Wilson, who was, a couple Pro Tour top 8s. Recently, the subject, the Star City Games Invitational winner, the subject of a Vice documentary.
Yeah, Vice.com documentary. Hugh Kramer, our friend Brandon McNamara, he used to be from Brooklyn where Hugh lives.
Yeah.
He says he's a limited master. Like the guy's a real limited guru. So if that's the case, not surprised to see him battling for top 8 against
I'm not
Wilson.
surprised at all.
Wilson's deck runs the gamut. I
you
got
know-
a chance to look at it. He's got Dragonlord Ojutai.
Ooh.
Can't really ask much more than that, but he's also playing cards like the ones you're seeing on the battlefield here. So.
You get that thing when a player suddenly is, in your local play group and in your sort of, and the surrounding area, and you hear people just say, well, what Hugh says. Well, I was talking to Hugh about this, and Hugh says, blah, blah, so he, there's a lot of, there's a Pyrotechnics, and Culligan Aspirin comes in, so But yeah, he has a lot of respect in the New York area, and I think people have been waiting for him to have a breakout finish.
Well, we'll see if he does. He's got to beat Jacob Wilson.
Yeah, it's a good story if it happens.
It's also very difficult to do.
Yeah. Pressure point, tap your Colligan aspirin at the end of the turn.
Wilson looking to just push through these last points of damage here. The reduced in stature Gorswine can still block something once.
Probably going to do that this turn.
Yeah, just to get in front of the morph here.
Well, it has to.
Oh, he wasn't at 10, he was at 6. Wow.
Yeah.
And this is before blocks. And that's going to do it.
Yeah, that's game. 6 power in the air.
Okay, this is for top 8 here,
Yeah.
so that's one game up.
Yeah, Jacob Wilson.
Hugh Kramer looking to break through here.
Jacob Wilson, by the way, a lot on the line for him. He's really looking to, push past Alexander Hayne and Sean McLaren and get like that Canadian
his
World Magic
countryman.
Cup seat. Looking for that North American bid on the World Championship.
I see that Luis already has Sidisi in his hand.
Okay, Hooded Assassin in play. Elusive Spellfist for Chris Fennell. Plays a Monument, gets in.
Not a blazing start for Fennell here.
Yep.
I mean, he went 2-3, but it doesn't feel like Luis is under massive pressure at the moment. He passes the turn back here.
Looks like Sandcrafter Mage. Okay. Attack for 1. 4 mana. There's a Lotus Path Djinn. And that's going to get flattened.
Luis has a lot of spot removal in this deck.
Yeah, he really does. Gets in for 2 with the Hooded Assassin. He's got some work to do. He's behind a game here.
No land for Fennell.
Here is Sidisi, Undead Vizier. He's going to tutor. He sacrifices the Hooded Assassin. Says, thanks for the attack.
So I think he's going to go find one of his dragons.
He goes
here.
and gets a Ruthless Deathfang.
Yeah, that's plan A for him. He's got a lot of exploit in the deck. He can certainly activate Ruthless Deathfang. Also, 4/4 flyers aren't bad.
Yeah.
He can cast it next turn with an untapped land. I believe he only has a Dismal Backwater for now, though.
Here's a Soul Summons. Really nice interaction with the Elusive Spellfist. Sort of advance your board and get in for 2. And then just face up Stratostancer. Just boom.
Beatdown. He knows what his game plan is here. He's trying to overwhelm Luis's spot removal by playing a bunch of cheap, evasive threats.
It's a perfectly reasonable plan.
Yep. Now, if Luis gets to start activating that Ruthless Deathfang, though, then things can get pretty out of hand. As Fennell's threats, while compact, are all real threats. We're not talking about tokens or random things lying around here.
Luis goes to 16, plays his Dismal Backwater. So it looks like he has a Sidisi's Faithful in his hand.
Okay.
So if he can get to 7 mana, he can actually play the Deathfang and sacrifice, and exploit the Sidisi's Faithful to itself.
Right now, he's trying to decide if he should foul Renewal. I think main phase here.
Maybe thinking about killing that flyer.
Yeah. Also contemplating a potential attack, as they are tied up, and he's got 4. But he decides just to pass the turn back. I think he looked at the dragon in his hand and he's like, look, I've got a long-term game plan that will win me this game. I've got a removal spell, I've got a dragon, and I've got a Ruthless Deathfang, and I have an exploit here.
Yeah.
So I think that if he just sits back, he'll win.
And he does have a 7th land as well, although it is a Dismal Backwater.
It is another Backwater. Those Backwaters are actually somewhat punishing for him this game. He could have had the Deathfang on the battlefield this turn. It's a little annoying.
What's the argument for the Dismal Backwater in a 2-color deck? Over a basic land?
It's just that normally you have it in your opener, and it's not that often. Did he just bounce that?
Yeah, he just Avon Surveyored Sidisi, kind of Riley.
Wow.
He was like, whoa, I guess this is what I got to do. Now you have to foul Revival.
Foul Renewal.
Foul Renewal, sorry.
Okay, no
Yeah. The Stratostancer. And he takes 3.
But
by the way, we're tick, tick, tick. Also, You know, that monument is getting close.
It's true. A couple of more lands away from being
Oh wait,
active.
that's a 7th land right there. That comes into play untapped.
Oh, this is going to be bad then for Fennell. This is interesting because Luis probably would want to return the Manifest, but if it's a spell, you don't want to give it to him, so he might just do the Spell Fist. But the problem is Spell Fist is actually a problem down the line, so Luis might just have to take the risk.
Sort of a problem down the line. Remember, he still has a Sidisi now in his hand.
Yeah, he did get a Sidisi back. It's also interesting to consider if Luis would like to play his 0-4 Sidisi's Faithful and just not sacrifice it yet. He can not, because he can also, because he needs something to feed to Sidisi.
Sure.
Now, he did get back his Hooded Assassin,
yeah.
But these are all just like down the line. So he's going to have to go through all of these different things. I think the first thing to do is get this dragon on the battlefield. And if I were him, I would just go for the Sidisi's Faithful and just do it right now.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, and I think I would just bounce the Manifest here. So trigger.
So sacrificing this to itself. Going to bounce
He is going to get the Spell Fist back in his hand. All right.
So now which creature would you like to sacrifice?
Looks like the Manifest was just a land, so away it goes. But this isn't bad for Luis Scott Vargas, as he's got Aven Surveyor versus a much bigger Death Fang. Now, we know that Fennell has multiple Surveyors, so he could just go Surveyor again. But this is the play for Luis that set him the best up for that. Even if that happens, he's only taking 2 here because of the line that he took.
6th mana for Fennell. Looks through his graveyard. Could be thinking about playing a Monastery Lore Master here.
He's got an Ojutai Interceptor. He can play
Mage.
both.
Yeah. He can play, Ojutai Interceptor and Sandcrafter Mage too.
Yeah.
Or Monastery Lore Master. Any permutation of those 3.
Yeah. He could also get the, he could play like face up Ojutai Interceptor plus Elusive Spellfist. Like he's got a lot of different options. He just needs to figure out which threats he wants to get down in and what sequencing, because over the next couple of turns he's going to want to use up all of his mana to fill his board with threats to try to keep ahead of that Ruthless Death Fang, because if he does nothing, it's not getting any better for him.
Yeah, because I think Silumgar Butchers are going to be on the tutoring menu.
That's a good point too. Yeah, Luis wouldn't mind just finding some cheap, a stupid shambling goblin, just some food for his Sidisi and such would be really nice right now.
Okay, so 2 creatures coming down.
And it looks like he's gone for the double morph plan here.
No,
he is going to play Sandcrafter. Ooh.
He can bolster on
chess rule.
Decides ultimately to bolster the Aven Surveyor.
Yeah, another interesting.
All right.
Yeah, it was interesting that he decided to go for the Surveyor there, the sure thing. So here's Hooded Assassin. And Luis does have Sidisi this turn as well. Sacrifice that. He gets to Demonic Tutor, meaning search up anything in his library here.
What does he get here?
That's the question, because you mentioned getting perhaps a Silumgar Butcher. If he gets that, he gets to play it next turn, kill the Aven Surveyor, sacrificing itself.
Right.
And kill whatever other threat Fennell has.
Yeah, that's what he's getting.
That's a 2-for-1 right there. That's pretty darn solid, as it's likely that the Ruthless Death Fang will still be there, because if Fennell could have gotten rid of it, he would have last turn. Wow.
So we know it's a Silumgar Butcher.
Yeah, I think if Fennell doesn't do something major this turn, not to stop Luis, and I mean like kill the Death Fang or something, I think Luis is just going to go up. Yeah, that's what he's doing. And that will get him in some damage here.
Just attacks for 4.
But you know what? Luis can take 4 if he wants.
Sure.
Like he's at 13, and it's tough for Chris Fennell's deck to really deliver the last damage here.
And he's going to lose 2 creatures this turn.
And this is going to be the Spell Fist. Yeah, so he's going to get to keep his Ojutai Interceptor, or he's going to get to keep his, whichever one he chooses of the other 2.
I think Luis just drew a Jeskai Sage.
Are you kidding me?
So
pure value here from Luis Scott Vargas. This is just raw. So trigger goes on, sacrifice this thing. What a great draw for Luis. Remember I was saying he wanted to draw some little dorks? That's what he wanted. That was the perfect one.
Right, so he stacks them up. It says, I'm going to force you to,
No, he's going to kill.
yeah, I'm going to kill something first, and then you're
Yeah.
going to sacrifice.
And actually, I think it goes the other way. I think that the trigger goes on the stack for the Ruthless Death Fang first. Or last, I should say, which resolves first. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to resolve first, so he has to sacrifice something first, right?
Yeah, it's however he wants it. It's however Luis wants
He
to
can
stack
choose
it.
because they both go on at the same
yeah,
time?
Yeah.
Okay.
However Luis wants to stack it. He
right.
got rid of the Interceptor, and now Chris Fennell has to make a decision.
A rather large one as well, as the elusive Spellfist does feel like one of the only ways that he can actually get in. The Surveyor's
remember,
bigger.
He still got that. He still got the Monument too.
Can't activate it yet.
Not yet.
And Luis does have the option to trade it off. So Luis decided to use the Butcher trigger first to kill the Interceptor.
Yeah, wow. There we go.
Luis
There
has
we
had
go.
enough because you know what? That's a 2-turn clock.
Yeah.
Like now Fennell has to come up with 9 damage next turn, and that's just not happening.
10 damage next turn.
Oh, he played a Dismal Backwater too? Yeah, you're right. And that's just not happening. Wow, that was a sick sequence for Luis over those last 2 turns.
Yeah. I mean, if this deck gets to turn 7 with the appropriate amount of mana, it should be able to do some really disgusting things. Skywise Teachings.
No,
I mean, not
that's
Skywise.
Great
I'm sorry.
Teacher's Decree,
Great
yeah.
Teacher's Decree. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really interesting here.
Drops Luis to 6.
That manifest.
And by the way,
is going to have to
he
chunk.
has enough mana next turn.
Yes, he does.
Coat with
there's
Venom.
Coat with Venom, though. So that means that 2 creatures are getting through. They're all 4 power, and that's going to do it.
Wow.
Oh,
Perfectly
man.
played by Luis Scott Vargas.
That was a sweet game. I loved watching Chris Fennell fight there.
Yeah, he was in a position next turn.
He
that might have been
knows
able to win.
exactly. I mean, remember he played up the face-up Stratus Dancer that you called
Yeah.
out? He
Yeah.
knows this is how I'm going to win this game. I don't get to play this long, slow, try to get value game. Luis is going to beat me at that.
Right. All right, so Jacob Wilson took game 1 here, it looks like. Against you, Kramer. And
Kind of looks like he's going to take this one too.
yeah, things look.
He's attacking for 7 here
Yeah, 4 power Palace Familiar.
into a pair of Kolagon Aspirants. No, that was last turn it looks like. So we're on Hugh Kramer's turn. It looks like we have a good old-fashioned slugfest on our hands here, VDM.
Elusive Spellfist gets to eat a Kolagon Aspirant.
Encased in Ice doing serious work against the Shockmaw Dragon.
Oh.
No, I spoke too soon.
Wow. Returns the Shockmaw Dragon to his hand.
But Hugh is fallen down to 6. This is a good one. We came in at a good time for this one.
All right, attacks you down to 2. Jacob passes the turn with all his mana up, no play. He's got a Dragon Lord Idol back on D.
Ancestral statue there for Hugh is holding back Dragonloft Idol.
Yeah, I mean, pretty nice, card that, maybe normally seems like it has a drawback in terms of having to return a permanent you control, but
It's really good against blue-white.
Yeah.
Pacifism comes to mind as well.
in case of
Reduce in stature.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of card you want there.
And also, sometimes you have an attacker, like you want to just reset it.
It's true. It just means that when you read the 4 in the upper right-hand corner, that sometimes it reads more like wait till 7.
Yeah.
Even if it still costs 4. So it looks like Jacob's going to have to settle for a 2-turn clock with that Palace Familiar as he clocks Hugh down to 2.
Yeah. And you see that there's a pacifism down there on a Sabertooth Outrider. But, we'll give you an update on this. We'll let you know what's happening here. We have to go back Like, I have to find out what happened between Luis Scott Vargas and Chris Fennell. Those guys are underway here. Hand of Silumgar for Luis Scott Vargas. Chris Fennell plays Anticipate at the end of the turn.
It's 20-20.
Yeah, getting those updated. Pushes 2 cards. One of which was Assault Summons. He might be looking for planes here.
You're right.
There's an Elusive Spellfist. There's a 3rd island.
No planes for Chris Fennell yet. I think he was hoping that Anticipate was going to find it for him.
Luis is like, I'll attack. I'll take that trade all day, every day.
And there's the Marsh Hulk. Not a planes off the top here for Fennell. This could be a major issue. He's got, so far, Luis looks like he's curving out pretty decently.
Yeah, I see Ruthless Death Fangs in hand.
Okay, he's got both of them in his hand. I believe Luis only has 1 more mana, though. Is Fennell hitting a land drop at all this turn? Nope.
No. Land is coming off the top for Luis. And he's going to attack with both.
Is Fennell going to have to put on the brakes? So this is interesting. If Fennell decides that he's not the beatdown in this matchup, he can mitigate the attacks from Luis. That's fine.
Elusive Spellfist gets in the way of the Morph in terms of just being a stop sign or a speed bump, but Coat with Venom finishes it off.
That's right.
And the Morph just lives through the attack. Luis plays a 4th land, passes the turn.
The problem with Fennell here, well, besides the fact that he's missing land drops and doesn't have white mana, is that his deck doesn't play defense well at all.
No.
He needs to be out there attacking and protecting his advantage. And if he falls behind, it could get ugly. And he's way behind here.
By 5th land for Luis, so now his deck can,
He's got a Sidisi, Undead Vizier, and also a Reach of Shadows. Unfortunately, Reach doesn't kill more for Luis.
No.
But Luis doesn't care. He's just jamming with both. And Fennell is in dire straits here, BDM. He is trying to make the top 8 of this GP. He needs to win a single game against one of the best players the game has ever seen. And he doesn't have the mana to do it.
Yeah. He doesn't have the sufficient quantity or the quality of mana right
Correct.
now. All right. So Morph blocks the Hand of Silumgar.
And Luis is happy about that because he gets to keep his Marsh Hulk on the table, which can really clean up the game later.
Wow, he's gonna. I believe.
I think he's just gonna.
He just casts it.
I would.
No,
yeah, maybe not. He is still 2 mana away from flipping up a Marsh Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just gonna say, you know what? Beat a 4/6 Death Touch. Wow.
There's a 4th land. There's Lotus Path Jin.
You mean Reach of Shadows target?
Here's a Reach of Shadows. Get in for 6. Fennell falls to 8. Is Luis Scott Vargas going to top 8 this GP?
He is turns away here from defeating Fennell and securing a top 8 here.
He's got the Paulo Vitor Damo Defier.
He's got it, and he did it!
Luis Scott Vargas,
Luis,
13
top 8.
and 2. Top 8's Grand Prix Atlantic City. Chris Fennell, who was undefeated overnight, has picked up his 3rd loss. He's going to be somewhere in the middle of the pack, outside the top 8. Pro points, money, great job by him this weekend. But Luis Scott Vargas, tightrope walk all day long. He had no losses to give coming into today.
And he did it. He got there. Congratulations to Luis. Another solid finish for Chris Fennell, who will certainly take the pro points and the money here. He's going to have to settle for no top 8, though.
It looks like Hugh Kramer won that game.
He recast the Shockmaw Dragon.
Right.
He must have traded it for the Palace Familiar and found a win after that.
Yeah.
Good for him. That was a close one.
That was a close game.
When we jumped in, I wouldn't have guessed that he was winning that game.
No, absolutely
But
not.
the Ancestral statue did good work.
Yeah. A card, people don't really, consider, when they're, looking at the cards that are, you're like, oh, what's the card that's going to win me this game? Well, maybe it'll be Ancestral Statue. You got to go deep sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, anyway, it's also a 3/4,
It's huge. You're getting a great deal.
It tussles.
Look, it was holding back a 3/3 that game. Wow, so we get a game 3 here.
Yeah.
And had a game 3 in LSV versus Chris Fennell. It's hard to imagine a better final round than this.
Players are drawing up their hands. And we're underway. Marty Woe Reaper right off the bat. Jacob Wilson comes out of the gate fast.
How about one drop fight? You don't see this very often.
Wow.
Zergo Bell Striker facing down the Woe Reaper.
What is going on here?
Yeah, this isn't what we're used to seeing in Limited. Zergo can't block the Woe Reaper.
Yeah, but you know what can?
Smoldering a free?
Smoldering a free, yes. You have one job, sir.
Here's the Lightwalker.
Oh boy.
I think Hugh's hope for the Smoldering a free was its one job would be to attack a lot.
There's a Gore Swine. So the Jank team, the Suicide Squad is assembling over here.
No kidding.
For Hugh Kramer.
I don't know if this is the ideal 1-2-3, but it is a 1-2-3.
Yeah.
They all have power and toughness.
Okay, Marty Woe Reaper comes in.
So it looks like Jacob's happy trading for either the 2-drop or the 3-drop here from Kramer. And there's Dragonloft Idol that's going to hold things down. This is just a junky board state here. There is nothing above an 8th pick in this, on this board.
These guys have strapped phone books to their shoulders as padding.
Yeah,
They've fashioned weapons out of broomsticks. And they are fighting.
Wow, check this out. That's Dragonlord Ojutai, and Dragonloft Idol is now active.
Oh,
4/4
wow. Oh, man. Jacob's not allowed to bring good cards to this fight.
He's only brought one, to be fair, but
it's a doozy.
And it turned Dragonloft Idol into a 4/4 flying trample, and this could be over quickly because Hugh just doesn't have the tools to deal with what's going on right now, unless he's got like a Reach Shadows for Ojutai or something like that. He's tapping
if
mana
Ojutai
here.
attacks.
Well, he's tapping mana here, so now we think it will.
All right. Warbrute, go.
Crunch with everything with 4 power.
So Lightwalker's going to get in the way of the Gore Swine and actually trade.
Now that Warbrute was dashed, so it's going to go away.
Yep.
That's not a long-term problem from Jacob in the sense of Jacob should be able to win this race pretty handily if Hugh's plan is to dash Warbrute every turn.
But Jacob took 8 there.
Yes, it was a big hit, no doubt about it. But it's not tenable from a mana perspective because Jacob now gets to crash back for 9 at least right here. Like he's going to kill him in 2 turns, and it's going to be tough for Hugh to get in for 11 next turn. Now it is possible, so Jacob's going to have to take a look at cards like Temur Battle Rage, right? If Hugh goes land dash Battle Rage, that could do it.
I think that would do it.
Yeah, it would absolutely. As the board sits, it would. But Jake still gets to activate the triggered ability from Dragonlord Ojutai to find an answer, and he's still got 3 cards in hand.
Jacob might have one more broken stick in his arsenal.
Yeah.
I think he's going to kick a pressure point here.
Oh my! Are you serious? That
is he gonna,
so good.
Is he going to lock up the top 8 with a pressure point?
I think he might. Yeah, you know, the cards that I was thinking of were things more along the lines of a Sandblast, right? Or an Enduring Victory. But a pressure point does every bit that those do.
I don't know if that's what he took. He's debating.
It works.
Try to tilt my head so I can see. It doesn't actually help.
No, that's a habit that's hard to break too. I haven't quite got over that one myself.
He did take the pressure point.
Does he have an additional blocker, maybe a morph or just something
He has
to get in the way?
he has a Palace Familiar.
Palace Familiar pressure point, I think, would lock this thing up.
Use at 5.
He's gonna use his mana a little more efficiently and play the dragon face down here. This gives him block, pressure point, and it means he's taking minimal damage and while keeping lethal up. Dragonlord Ojutai is lethal.
All right. Can Hugh Kramer kill Dragonlord Ojutai here? He's tapping his mana. It's Sprinting War Brute. Oh. Pressure point. That's the hand.
Devastating.
Jacob Wilson, 13-2. He's through to the top 8.
Wow, this top 8 is going to be nasty. Remember, we've already got Christian Calcano in the top 8 alongside Stephen Neal. Joining them so far, Luis Scott Vargas and Jacob Wilson.
So, you know,
Ooh.
a handful of people who won a Grand Prix